This father suddenly noticed something. The little girls on stage were all around his daughter's age. When they came out, they performed exaggerated moves. They wore stiff smiles on their faces. They looked like Barbie dolls programmed in advance. They mechanically tried to please the judges and the audience. Meanwhile, their parents were cheering wildly from below the stage. They seemed completely unaware of how unnatural this forced maturity was. The sight made the father's heart tighten. A strong sense of unease washed over him. Sure enough, when his 7-year-old daughter Olive came on stage, she was a slightly chubby little girl with a round belly. The judges immediately changed their attitude, becoming cold and even dismissive. Among all the applause, hers was the only performance that received little genuine support. Olive's smile looked a little forced too. After forcing herself to finish the performance, Olive returned backstage and stared at her reflection in the mirror. She began to wonder if she really was less pretty than the other girls. That doubt made her start losing confidence. But then she thought about the car that needed the whole family to push it along. Her father, who had nearly lost all hope, and even Grandpa hidden inside the car. It all started 3 days earlier. Bright and cheerful Olive watched the crowning of a beauty pageant champion on television. The dazzling spotlight instantly sparked her dream of becoming a star. She began copying the champion's exaggerated celebration moves. She was already lost in the fantasy of being adored by everyone. But this seemingly innocent daydream unexpectedly became possible when the preliminary winner was disqualified for taking diet pills. That unexpected turn allowed her to advance from a local contestant and earn a spot in the California state finals. She excitedly shouted and rushed back to her room to pack her bags. What she did not know was that her father Richard was worrying about how to afford the plane tickets. This man made a living selling his so-called 9 steps to success. He could talk non-stop on stage, but there were barely any people listening below. If a motivational speaker could not even sell his own ideas, where was he supposed to get the money for plane tickets? His wife suggested using the family business fund, but Richard instinctively refused. His career problems and family responsibilities felt like 2 mountains crushing down on him. And this family was struggling with far more than just money. But when he saw the hopeful look in his daughter's eyes, he gritted his teeth and asked,
"We're gonna win."
Yes.
We're going to California.
At that moment, his instincts as a father overcame the family's financial difficulties. Richard decided to drive to California. So this eccentric family squeezed into a yellow car with a broken air conditioner and seatbelts that barely worked. They set off on their dream journey to California. The cramped interior was filled with an uncomfortable sense of distance. Aside from Olive, who was wearing headphones and bobbing her head to the music, everyone else looked completely miserable. The older brother, sitting alone in the back seat, had met his uncle for the first time 2 days earlier. He had simply told him, "I hate everyone." He had sworn he would not speak until he became a pilot. This was already his 270th day of silence. The uncle was sitting beside Olive. He had once been a brilliant scholar who specialized in Proust. But his boyfriend had stolen his academic work and given it to another woman. He had gone through an extremely difficult period in his life. Now he could only stay temporarily at his sister's house. Grandpa was a World War II veteran. He still carried an old war injury to this day. Haunted by the effects of the war, he had struggled with emotional problems for years. He had a short temper and could explode at the slightest provocation. He and his son mostly communicated by arguing. The heat and bumpy road finally pushed Grandpa over the edge.
If some girl came up to me, begged me to fuck her, I couldn't do it.
Dad?
That's how tired I am.
Watch the language, huh?
He's listening to music.
The argument between father and son grew more intense. The lifeless car suddenly erupted into chaos. It was not until Olive took off her headphones in confusion that Grandpa finally quieted down. He was his granddaughter's biggest fan. He often took her downstairs to secretly practice her competition routine. When the family stopped at a rest area for lunch, they had a budget of only $4 per person. Olive happily ordered an ice cream. Richard immediately poured cold water on her excitement. He told her that eating ice cream would make her gain weight. If she gained weight, she would not look pretty anymore. And if she was not pretty, she would not win the championship. A few simple remarks completely ruined her appetite. The rest of the family looked at her with disapproval. But Richard did not think he had done anything wrong. After all, is wanting ice cream not exactly what childhood should be about for a 7-year-old? After lunch, the family prepared to get back on the road. But the old, poorly maintained car was just like this troubled family. It always seemed to break down at the worst possible moment. With no other choice, the car went from driving itself to being pushed by hand. The entire family put all their strength into pushing it. 10 miles per hour, 20 miles per hour, 25 miles per hour. The moment the engine finally roared back to life, the family scrambled to catch up with the little car. Breathing heavily, they looked at one another and smiled. For a brief moment, they unexpectedly found some warmth in the chaos. The car continued down the road. With his mood finally improving, Richard could not help bringing up his struggling dream of starting a business and publishing a book. He was trying to win his family's approval.
Oh, how about that?
The mocking tone of his brother-in-law made Richard's expression turn cold. His good mood disappeared instantly. Just then, a long-awaited phone call suddenly came in, but the signal kept cutting in and out. He could barely understand what his agent was saying. Richard had no choice but to pull into a rest area. He quickly found a payphone and called the agent back. While they were parked, the uncle went into a convenience store to buy Grandpa a magazine, but he unexpectedly ran into his former boyfriend who had betrayed him. He quickly hid his hands behind his back. He did not want the other man to see the scars on his wrist. At almost the same time, Richard received even worse news. The publisher had no interest in his 9 Steps to Success program. His book deal was completely dead. Richard stood there frozen, his mood sinking to rock bottom, filled with frustration and disappointment. The family got back on the road. The entire car fell silent and gloomy once again. The old man noticed how discouraged his son was, so he climbed into the front seat to comfort him.
Whatever happens, you tried to do something on your own, which is more than most people ever do. And I include myself in that category. You took a big chance, and it took guts, and I'm proud of you.
Okay, Dad, thank you.
His father's understanding and encouragement allowed Richard to finally relax for a moment. The struggling yellow car continued carrying the family forward, but no one knew how much farther it could actually go. That night, the whole family checked into a motel. Grandpa used every spare moment to practice with Olive. They were making one final push before the competition the next day. But the closer they got to California, the more nervous Olive became. Before going to sleep, she finally could not hold back and asked Grandpa,
Grandpa,
What?
I don't want to be a loser.
You're not a loser. Where'd you get the idea you're a loser?
Because Dad hates losers.
Whoa. Back up a minute. You know what a loser is? A real loser is somebody that's so afraid of not winning, they don't even try. Now, you're trying, right?
Yeah.
We're gonna have fun tomorrow, right?
Grandpa's words reassured her. Olive fell asleep peacefully with her head resting on the pillow. But when she woke up the next morning, everything suddenly fell apart.
Dad,
What is that?
Grandpa won't wake up.
The whole family rushed Grandpa to the hospital. A heavy sadness hung over everyone outside the emergency room. Mom tried to comfort the family, but as she spoke, she ended up crying herself. They all hoped for a miracle, but in the end, they received the heartbreaking news. Grandpa did not make it. According to local regulations, they had to make arrangements for Grandpa's funeral as soon as possible. That also meant Olive would completely miss the competition.
We'll go to Little Miss Sunshine next year, okay, honey?
Inside the cold morgue, the atmosphere was painfully heavy, but the words Mom had just used to comfort her daughter made Richard finally break down.
I will be damned if I'm not making that contest, Cheryl.
His family was on the verge of bankruptcy, and then his father suddenly passed away. It became the final blow that Richard could no longer bear. He could no longer accept being trapped by one failure after another. Then a crazy idea suddenly came to him. He could not let his father leave with regrets, and he could not let his daughter lose this opportunity. He decided that somehow Grandpa had to be there for Olive's competition. The moment Richard said it, everyone stared at him in shock. But after the initial shock, this family on the verge of falling apart unexpectedly reached the same decision. They decided to go along with Richard and do something crazy together.
Let's do it.
So Olive was responsible for keeping an eye on the surroundings. Richard and his wife secretly brought Grandpa out to the car. Her brother and uncle nervously waited outside to help. Then they placed Grandpa in a hidden spot inside the car.
Swing around this way. Olive, get in.
There you go.
Okay, let's go.
The yellow car once again hit the road. Carrying this battered family, it continued toward their destination.